Howdy, folks. Welcome back or welcome aboard. You are listening to the Doc Owen Show, and we are really glad that you're here. This is Dr. Richard Owen, joined in the Hilltop Studios by...
I'm a surefire.
And...
Uncle Bocce.
All right, full house, ready to go. I'm not sure what we're going to talk about tonight, but we will dive into something after we have done our traditional routine. The first thing I would like to do is to make... what we consider to be a big announcement, a nice little milestone the show has reached. On our host site, which is Spreaker.com, that's Spreaker.com, we have reached 11,015 plays across our entire library of podcasts. That doesn't necessarily mean we've reached 11,000 people, but we've certainly reached a few thousand, which is really pretty cool.
That's great.
That's a real good milestone. And in terms of number of plays on Spreaker, we rank right up there amongst the best of them. So that's really good. We are all over the social media, as in Facebook, Twitter. We're getting a lot of hits on Instagram lately. We're even out there on Pinterest. We're doing, kind of messing Pinterest up because we don't post pictures of windows and doors. But anyway, always as Doc Owen Show, DocOwenShow. We have a blog, DocOwenShows.com, which is currently having a little remake done to it, but it's still live. It's just that the new stuff hadn't come up yet. And one of the best ways to follow us and to stay in touch is via our free apps for both the iPhone and Android. If you will shop the iTunes Store or the PlayStation, I think it's not called PlayStation. What's it called for Android?
Google Play?
Google Play.
It's Google Play for Android. And just do a search for Doc Owen Show, DocOwenShow. You will see our logo, and you can download the app and listen to us for free. Get notices when we go live, etc., etc. We were playing. If you're a Doc Owen Show insider, you received an email saying that we're going to ask for a little help tonight because we're cranking up our phone lines and seeing if they work. We've gotten some new equipment. Well, as would be the case the last time we put in phone lines, took us one or two tries before we got it working, and we just couldn't get her done before showtime. So disregard that email. The phone lines are not open. If we get a call, it will be a wrong number, and we won't be able to answer it anyway. So let's dive into the show. We always start off with an inspirational moment from Ms. Surefire. So, Ima, take it away.
And tonight's quote comes from ChristianPost.com. And the quote comes from the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. What it means is you can use your good work ethic as an example for other Christians to follow.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Walk the walk.
It made me think of a friend of mine who reached out to everybody to say a little prayer for her because she was up for a really big promotion. So I thought of that verse.
Awesome.
How did that go? Did she get her answer?
No, she kept it hanging like a big soap opera.
Thought you were supposed to find out on Monday or Tuesday or something
I know.
like that.
I'm going to have to hit her up this weekend and ask her.
Find out what up. Yeah. Uncle Bocce?
Yes, sir.
You got a moment in history for us that'll just send us into awe and shock?
Well, I don't know about awe and shock, but it's 1825. The presidential election was decided in the House of Representatives. This was the first time that happened. And the people, the guys who were running, or the gentlemen that were running, one, John Quincy Adams, nobody of the four who were running, nobody got got enough electoral votes. So that's why it went to the House.
Ah.
And the House. But what happened was...
The House of Representatives.
The House of Representatives. Okay. What happened was that... And we talked about this before.
I remember.
Yeah. And the House of Representatives... apparently, John Quincy Adams made a deal with Henry Clay, who was not in the top 3. And somehow he influenced them. And the House election elected John Quincy Adams.
Was this before the Electoral College?
No. Interesting point there. No, the Electoral College... In fact, need to do some research on this because this election was the very first time that the popular vote was recorded. What happened in the previous 5 presidential elections? They did not announce the popular vote. They just ignored it because it was the Electoral College. I think that's a good topic.
Well, they probably just didn't. It is a good topic. They probably just didn't consolidate it. In other words, they had the popular vote at the state level because that's how the Electoral College was told to vote.
Right.
But they didn't have the wherewithal to pull it all together at a national level, nor, I guess, did they feel the need. In other words, the Electoral College is what it is. It is what it is. So each state was trusted, keyword, to vote the way the citizens of that state told them to vote.
Exactly.
Trusted. So it would be interesting to know in your digging through the dust and rubble of history the answer to your question.
Yes. And there's your homework, young guys, young people. There's your homework. If you don't get to it, I will.
I do. Thank you, Bocce. That was good.
Thanks.
That was good. That kicked off. That's good. Always good to kick off ideas. I'm gonna play for you. I'm gonna try to get. I've got my phone up in my hand. This is technical challenge night. So I spent too much time doing that, and not any time at all putting together a leadership quote for you. So I have as you well know, one of my favorite doctors in the entire world who does great leadership quotes is a fellow by the name of Dr. Zeus. So one day it just kind of popped into my head, and I wrote what I call a Dr. Zeus memo. I've got my phone turned up, but I don't have it on speaker, so that's the first thing that I got to do is well, maybe I do. Hold on. We'll get it. Hang with me. Okay, let's see how it goes.
Have you read and put in your head a collection of truths from one Dr. Zeus?
Okay, that was my lead. In other words, pay attention to what the man says. Have you read and got in your head a collection of truths from one Dr. Zeus? Mm-hmm. He writes some really good stuff.
Yes,
in
true.
terms of how to live your life, all sorts of things having to do with life. Dr. Zeus is on the money.
Yep.
Okay, so there's our leadership quote, and it came from me.
Awesome. That's great.
In a Dr. Zeus type rhyme. The show tonight, we're going to talk. There's a couple of things that are in the news. I'm just going to give you an overview, and it has to do with immigration, sanctuary cities, as well as the court system and the executive order that has been now twice a TRO, a temporary restraining order, or a temporary stop to the ban that was issued, went through the court, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to be the kind of the gist of what we talk about. And we have a long history of talking immigration sanctuary cities, so I'm not too worried about that. But before we dive into that, Uncle Bocce, are you gonna what era of history are you gonna walk us through?
Okay, tonight we're going to take another look at New France.
Okay.
And there's a reason for it.
Okay.
You'll get the reason here.
Okay.
Okay? Just a little bit of background. There was a French explorer named Champlain. He had visited...
That's with an L.
Yeah, Champlain.
Not stuff you drink.
Champlain, or whatever, however. He had visited and mapped the New England coast a number of times before the Pilgrims even arrived in 1620. So the French were very active in the 1600s with exploration.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, this was just about the time that England finally woke up and they said, yeah, we got to get into this colony thing. So, about the same time that John Smith and Jamestown settlers were setting up camp in Virginia, France was building permanent settlements of their own. Samuel de Champlain, he led a group of French colonists through the mouth of the St. Lawrence River to found Quebec, or some people say Quebec.
It's Quebec.
It's Quebec is the proper. And that was in 1608. And, of course, our first was 1607, Jamestown. Okay? The big issue there was the fur trade.
Of course.
They made a fortune off of the fur trade.
Right.
And that drove them deeper and deeper into North America. Even the French Jesuit missionaries were very active, searching, and they penetrated the area because they wanted to convert the natives over to Catholicism.
Right.
Okay? Keep that thought in mind. By 1700...
Can I make notes?
Please, go ahead.
Okay.
By 1700... France had laid claim to an expanse of territory. Now, this is huge, okay? It ranged from Newfoundland in the northeast, down across the Great Lakes, through the Ohio River, Ohio Valley, southward along the Mississippi River, to the Gulf of Mexico, as far west as the Rocky Mountains. Okay, so that's a huge, huge area that the French thought they had control over.
Well, what they did was they started up in the northwest, above Maine, and wrapped
Northeast. Yeah.
What did I say? Northwest.
Yeah.
My bad. So and
From
and
St.
wrapped
Lawrence, Newfoundland.
completely all the way around what was known as the
British colonies.
The British colonies.
Yeah.
And the Spanish colonies that were over in Florida, et cetera, et cetera. So the French completely encircled all the way from the northeast shore to the Gulf Coast.
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. Now, there were profound differences between New England and New France. The English colonies, though much smaller in size, an area, they dwarfed the French population. Okay, so there were more people there. King Louis XIV, the very extravagant Louis XIV of France, he was a devout Catholic. Okay?
Okay.
And he did not tolerate any other faiths in the French Empire. Point number one, we talked about it last week. Tolerance.
Right.
French were intolerant. The British colonies were tolerant. That's part of our heritage. That's who we are. We are tolerant people.
Right.
Okay? Now, the French Huguenots, remember who they are? The French Huguenots? Or I don't know how they would pronounce it.
Yeah. Right.
I've heard that term before.
Yeah.
Huguenot.
Well, they were the dominant religious minority in France. So they had no influence in New France because the king would not allow them to. You had to be a Catholic.
Okay.
Okay, so that's who the Huguenots were. Now, land was much less an issue in France than it was in England. England is really a tiny little area.
It's an island.
So it wasn't much as far as land was concerned. So that wasn't a motivation for the French. They did not have an economic reason to come and populate the French area, right?
They did it just to aggravate the British.
Yeah, okay. The French crown was more interested in its holdings in the Far East and the Sugar Islands in the Caribbean, where they were making all kinds of money. So they did little. The French monarchs did very little to promote emigration to their colonies. Another key point. Unlike the English colonies, where self-rule had been pursued immediately, the people of New France had no such privilege. So there's the second point, self-rule. It was ingrained in the British colonies. Okay? There were no elected assemblies in the French colonies. Decisions were made by the magistrates on behalf of the king. There was no trial by jury. The English colonists depended on themselves.
What?
Okay? Self-reliance. There's the third point.
Okay.
Okay? So the idea of self-reliance was ingrained again in those who were to become the American citizens. Very important because, the other colonies, the French and they didn't. Now, the French did leave some, like, for instance, culinary, Cajun and Creole food was there. And you only need to look at the map to see Des Moines, Detroit, St. Louis, Grand Teton, and New Orleans. They were some of France's enduring influences there. And we know the French Quarter in New Orleans.
Right. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the things to take away from this is, again, we are a tolerant people. We believe in self-rule. That is, the people give consent. And we believe in self-reliance.
Yeah, but thinking through that. And what you're saying is the French came over here completely without those privileges.
That's correct.
All right. I would submit to you that the British didn't have those privileges either when they came over here.
That's why they left. Yes.
Exactly. So the French came after the British did. The British came over here, and they came as a result of seeking those what were considered to be God-given rights.
Totally different motivations.
Well, wait a minute. No, you mean the French came here for a different motivation?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. But after they got here, then they started to change to, I'm assuming, to accept more of the British settlers' ways. In other words, they melded in and they realized the advantage of self-reliance. Or did they?
Not the French.
Really?
No, we'll see next week what happens to the French. We're gonna talk about a little bit more and dig some principles up. But
he said next week. It's going to be week after.
It'll be the week after next. I'm sorry.
That's right.
I will not be
It's
here
all
next
good.
week. So we'll see more, and I'll answer your question.
I won't remember it in 2
Well,
weeks from now.
well, okay. We're talking about. I was
But that's
talking
okay.
about the motivation. The Brits had totally different motivation than
To
the
come
French
here.
did.
I can relate
Right.
to that. I can relate to that.
Exactly.
And all I was saying was, but after a while, I would assume, because, well, I don't know. It's a good idea. 2 weeks. I think I see where you're going with it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay.
All right. It's all good. But Surefire, did you make notes? No.
Mental.
There you
Yes,
go.
Mental
There you
notes. I did.
So, who are you? I mean,
Yes.
How-
You always
how
have
do
to
they find
remind me. I forget to identify myself. This is Uncle Bocce. You can reach me at UNCLEBACI, Uncle Bocce, at DocBowenShow.com.
there you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Uncle Bachi.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Before we go any further, I want to refer you to a website called pjnet.com, and it is a membership organization that you should join. They are a bunch of very evangelical patriots. I have been using hashtag BJNet for probably the whole time that I've been on Twitter. It was one of the first things that I got involved in. And they're really a good organization that take on a lot of the issues current day and they do what they Twitter. They don't call them Twitter attacks, but they Twitter something that they rallies. It's a Twitter rally. I had the opportunity to be interviewed by them last night and got to know them even better and have a lot of. I'm impressed. They know what they're doing when it comes to creating a campaign and making a difference. They did a hashtag, Twitter hashtag rally last night on hashtag Unborn Lives Matter, and included me in the show. So I was very flattered and honored to be there. Thank you, guys. I had a good time.
It was nice.
It was nice.
That
It was
nice.
They know what they're doing. And by the way, they have all sorts of statistics and counters and things that they do behind their routine. And they had 49.4 million impressions of their Unborn Lives Matter hashtag across the world last night from the time they started that rally and conducted it. That's reaching a lot of people.
How many was it again?
49.4 million.
Wow.
that got that Unborn Lives Matter hashtag
Man, that's a
distributed to
bunch.
them.
That's a big bunch.
That's making an impact.
That sure is.
So
Well, good for them.
yeah, I was impressed. Let's talk about current events. One of the things that's a current event, not just in Texas, but on a national basis, all week long, and probably a little before, is the view of sanctuary cities and the immigration, the executive order that the new administration put out about the travel ban had already caused considerable upheaval as of last week's show, actually, I think, but it was just starting. So we've now had a week of it, and it hasn't really let up very much.
Certainly has.
There was a judge that issued a temporary order, that a temporary stay, I think it's called in legal terminology, that said the travel ban is not in effect. That was appealed at the same time that Trump was trying to get his Department of Justice in order. All of this was going on the outside, and really it was his DOJ that we now have a head of, the new Attorney General, former Republican Senator Jeff Sessions is now officially the Attorney General after much fight. But in the middle of this outside attack going on against the administration, basically the administration was playing ball without their top lawyer. So, but that the first judge's order put a stay on the temporary ban. So we got a temporary stay on a temporary ban. And now that's been appealed, and the appellate court, both in the 9th District, which are in California of all places.
Yeah. Well,
So right now, California is telling the rest of the United States
and Washington. Yeah, that's right.
and Washington, but I don't care about Washington, D.C.
No,
They're-
not Washington, D.C. I'm talking about Washington State.
Yeah, they're telling the entire United States of America
That's right.
how to run our business.
Yeah.
All right? Two judges.
That's right.
Two judges
And the Ninth
in the
Circuit
state
Court
of-
is known
to be,
for its leftist ideology.
If I were going to give you and the audience a little quiz on what state has the most illegal aliens in it that also have the most rights, what would be your answer?
California.
Duh. So this state, we're connecting dots here. What else are they known for? What else is one of their current events that they've been in the news for lately? They've got the former
Budget? No.
Attorney General running point, leading the effort to exit the union.
Wow.
You
Well, I
know
know
that?
that. No, well, I knew about a movement to secede, but
Yeah.
I didn't take it very seriously.
I don't either, but they do, is the point. Mr. Fast and Furious is in charge
I didn't know that.
of that effort.
Wow.
All right? So they are taking it quite serious.
Me.
And now the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is headquartered in California, is telling the rest of the country that we shouldn't care about who comes into the country.
Yeah.
Is basically what they're telling us.
Yes. Can I make a comment on that?
Careful.
Or if you're going.
I'm fired up.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
No, I'm teasing
No. The decisions that both of those courts made were based entirely on economic impact to the states within that area. Washington, California. That's what they made the decision on. There has not been a decision come down yet on the merits, which would be constitutional.
Well,
Okay, that has not happened. Hopefully that'll happen in the Supreme Court. But I just thought I'd point that out.
no, I hear what you're saying. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Well, yeah, just
You
an
know,
interesting.
no, it is interesting.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I've seen reasons and logic, and things on the internet, etc., about why it's being done. My point is, Donald Trump is being treated very, very differently than his predecessors.
He sure is.
This temporary travel ban was actually in place, put in place by Obama in 2009, but never enforced.
Right.
The
I think
difference
Clinton did
between
too.
well, Clinton had some
those
stuff,
yeah.
but it wasn't quite as
Yeah.
bad as what we're seeing.
Yeah.
There was a clip out on the internet that was absolutely fabulous that went through Clinton delivering a speech to Congress on what a problem immigration was and how it was disrupting American life, and they were, coming here illegally and taking our welfare. Clinton did a whole routine on it. Then Obama followed that up with, that certainly we are a nation of immigrants. And his exact words were, we are a nation of immigrants, but we're also a nation of laws.
Absolutely.
And so he preached loud and long about legal immigration versus illegal immigration. But as this administration went on, we came to know that everything he said, he did exactly
The opposite.
The opposite.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem they're having with Trump and this administration is he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And they can't believe it.
Right.
They being the opposition.
Yeah. Please excuse me for saying this on your show. This is Uncle Bocce saying this. Okay? People remember, this is not Doc Owen or Ima.
And wait,
This is me.
Okay, before you say this, we already know he's not going to be on the air with us next week. All right, he's going to take a holiday. So it's not because of what he's about to say.
Yeah. Good point. All right.
That's funny.
Like I've been thrown off the show.
That's funny.
Okay. And I'm saying this directly. I don't know the Ninth Circuit Court judge, what his name was, but this other judge, I think his name was Roberts. I don't know what it is.
Robarts, Robarts.
Robarts. Mr. Robarts, Judge Robarts, and you other guys out there, judges, you are absolutely wrong on what you are doing.
Well,
You are totally unconstitutional, and I am calling you out. You are wrong to do that. What Trump is doing is to try to protect this country, and you're against that. You're wrong. I'm sorry.
well,
Enough.
okay. The largest internet radio network in the world,
They just
where talk shows are hosted, plays our show Monday through Friday. And it's based in California. But it's like love you like a brother, but man, you're way off base on all this immigration stuff. I'm not as vociferous or emotional about it as Uncle Bocce, but that's because I'm a little bitty Welsh guy and he's a great big old Italian. So,
not that great big.
relatively speaking, anyway, he's absolutely correct. The constitutionality of the executive order is not in question. It cannot be in question. And these two judges, that is all they're supposed to do, is to determine the constitutionality of the order. Not say that they don't like it, not say that it's going to do harm to the country, not say that it's going to be good for the country. Either way, their opinion on the results of the executive order are not only does it not matter, it's not their job.
No.
It's not their job.
Their job is to check the constitutionality of things so that to act as a buffer to the Supreme Court. Right?
That's right.
And so when the things that go in front of the Supreme Court are where an attorney on behalf of a client, usually a lot of times it's a state, has made their case above a higher court to say this previous ruling is not in keeping with the Constitution. Make sense?
Yep.
And so this one is expected to be fast tracked to the Supreme Court
It will be.
because of the the downside of letting it stay in place. I mean, they've already caught, as I saw something on the internet, the administration has already found 24 terrorists identified that have come into the country since this order should have been in effect. 24 of them that, now we've done the vetting after they're here and completely dispersed into the country. But, I'm sure when they see their faces on TV, they'll come and turn themselves in.
Oh, yes.
For sure.
It happens all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
They send them to Guantanamo when they turn themselves in, don't they?
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah.
Last I checked,
They're-
Guantanamo is empty.
They run a special boat down there.
Yeah,
They,
just
they present themselves down at Key West, and they give them a boat over.
I would just throw them in the ocean and tell them to swim there.
So, so
I like that.
let's.
Wait.
And what this is about is immigration. And yes, we're a country of immigrants, but we're a country of legal immigrants. And that is probably the one sticking point that the opposition that wants no walls, no border, open borders, let everybody in. That's the one point that they seem to miss, is the fact that, and we're the bad guys. We have no sensitivity. We have no feeling for these little orphans, and all of this clamor that are trying to pull at our heartstrings, and that is not the case. But the case is, mixed in with those orphans, actually, far more of them are fighting age illegal aliens that can be, if they're not already radicalized, they can very easily become radicalized after they get here. Whatever type of training you go through to be radicalized, I don't know what that means. I mean, I really don't. I don't know how you can take somebody that's a relatively peaceful, law-abiding citizen and in a number of months have them go out and be ready to blow themselves up with a bomb.
Yeah, it's either that or chop off your head. So what choice do they have?
I don't get that. You mean either that or they're going to get their heads. They're going to. I don't.
No, I'm sure that they teach them and they brainwash them, from in terrorism.
At any rate, so the fight's not over and for those of you who are not paying very close attention, this is a temporary travel ban on against 7 countries identified by Obama as being terrorist hotbeds. And all we're saying is we need 90 to 120 days to get our act together in the immigration business to be able to vet to the greatest degree possible, check the backgrounds of everybody from those 7 countries. Only those 7 countries.
Right. And
all the rest of it was simply, as we know, bureaucracy, the federal government bureaucracy is one major mess up.
right.
Always has been. It's been since I was a child. They
Yeah.
just can't do anything right. They're too busy being bureaucrats. Well, when when Trump pulled the ban, his bureaucratic agency called Homeland Security, I think, went nuts. And, I think we're lucky they probably didn't try to ground every plane in the air, just drop them all down in place and run everybody off the planes into a cage. The uproar that happened, you'd have thought that's what they did. Mm-hmm. But they didn't, but pretty close. They said, President said, bring them all in.
Mm-hmm. As a minor issue, well, it's not even a minor issue, I can say that protecting Americans is the number one job of the executive branch. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with the courts, okay? That is the executive branch because they have plenary power.
No, slow down.
Okay.
You know way too much that your audience doesn't know.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, audience. You're right.
The executive branch is what?
The executive branch.
Also known as the administration.
The administration.
The president and people who work for him.
The bureaucracy, yes.
The agencies that work for him.
Exactly.
Okay. And what is plenary power?
I don't have it completely down in my mind, but somewhere along the line there was a decision made that the president, acting within the constitutional rights that the president has, he has sole plenary jurisdiction to do this.
Yes.
The courts have nothing to do with this.
But slow down.
Okay. I'm really getting.
I
should shut up.
Turn his mic down.
Yeah. I'm sorry, folks. I get passionate about some things.
It means that since these since these things exist in the Constitution, mm-hmm. how he goes about supporting the Constitution is his business.
It's totally within his right.
Right.
And his
when
job.
I say his business, I'm referring to the president's business.
And that's why Obama had the same right.
Until now, we've not had a female. So we can say in the president, in his business, the president determines how he will execute that charter given to him in the Constitution.
Exactly.
But what these judges are doing is what we are talking about. Rewriting the Constitution or interpreting the Constitution or simply making up law as they go along because they're judges.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're being shopped by those who want to, get this to make it unconstitutional. They are being shopped. That's why this guy Robards or whatever his name is.
Well, that's been going on.
That's why they went. Yeah, I know, but I'm just adding to that. They are shopped. They go to the court where they think they're going to get their. That's the way it is.
Of course, but that's the way the law works.
Yeah,
it works that way on a local basis when you're getting a divorce.
Sure.
I mean,
that's nothing new. You're right.
You pick somebody that, supposedly. Okay, let's see if we can calm Uncle Bocce down.
You try.
I'm doubting it because we're going to go from immigration into sanctuary cities. State of Texas. I'll take them as an example. I'm up close and personal with that situation.
Yes.
So I may not know everything that's going on across the country, but for the rest of the country, you should know that the state of Texas has just passed a bill, Senate Bill number 2, which our Senate and House of Representatives meet every other year for a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. So they get in, get out. We don't have full-time politicians around here. Mm-hmm. All of these guys have a job, except the very top echelon. So, Senate Bill number 2 passed in the Senate down strictly party lines, 50-something to 40-something. It was about a 10-person difference, I think, or some odd. Outlawing sanctuary cities, period. It was mandated by our governor and mandated by the assistant. Good Mike. Surefire had to adjust her headset. So we have now outlawed sanctuary cities in the state, at least from the Senate perspective, and we expect it to go through the House. We have law enforcement agencies in the state that are openly and outwardly refusing to cooperate with both federal immigration called ICE, and they are openly saying they are not going to honor this non-sanctuary city law that is being passed. The most outspoken of those is a sheriff in Austin, Texas. If you're not familiar, Austin, Texas is the capital of Texas. So the sheriff in Austin, probably 2 or 3 blocks away from the Capitol building and the governor's mansion, has said, no, I'm not doing it. You can holler anti-sanctuary city all you want. This is a sanctuary city. I'm not going to cooperate with any of you. And the governor has said, that's fine. Pull the plug on all her money. It's a female. Pull the plug on all the money. What do you think about that?
They actually, they actually said they're going to do that?
Who are they?
Well, I'm sorry. I misunderstood your question. Go ahead.
No. The state said they were going to pull the funds?
No, what are you saying?
The state's saying they're pulling the funds.
The state is saying that.
And,
okay.
And the sheriff in Austin, Texas, which is Travis County,
I believe so, yes.
has said, we're not doing it. We are not going to cooperate with ICE. We are not going to check anything about these citizens. We are running a sanctuary city, and that's all there is to it. And you can't make me.
Well, there has to be some. Don't the sheriffs, the county sheriffs, they report to the state?
Well,
Aren't they like the district attorneys are? Aren't they? No, they don't. Okay, I thought they were employees of the state. I'm just trying to figure out how the connection.
No,
how can they pull her money? What money?
Well, evidently the state funds jails. The state, just like the federal government funds jail. It's kind of a curly Q sort of thing, but there's money that goes into the sheriff's department from the state's coffers,
I understand.
even if it's coming from the state to the county to the sheriff. It's still coming from the state down to the county, right? And so, we're going to, the state of Texas is going to wind up being a major focal point for this sanctuary cities battle that they're trying to do it at a national level. And so as a microcosm, the state of Texas is basically getting out ahead of them and saying, oh, we agree. we're going to implement a non-sanctuary cities bill. And some of the just like the mayor of Chicago and the mayor of New York and, these big city mayors have come out and said they're not going to honor a federal mandate of no sanctuary cities. We've got it right here on a local basis. SHTF is what's going to happen.
That's for sure.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it'll be a good thing.
Well,
it'll be a good thing in the sense that it'll awaken some of the people in America, but
I would hope it would get settled once and for all.
I wish it would.
But I don't think it's going to.
Well,
I mean, I've never seen elected officials draw such hard lines in the sand in a public way as I have over this issue of illegal immigration and sanctuary cities. Have you?
No, I've never.
Have you?
No.
No. To defy what somebody's telling them to do, they're like, no, I'm not going to do
Your
it.
boss.
Like, really?
I don't get it.
So you're going to learn the hard way then when you say no.
Yeah. What I don't get is why these people who want sanctuary cities, what is their problem with protecting the American people? What is it? Why don't they want to protect us?
It's Uncle Bocce.
Yeah, I know.
It's not a problem. That you are completely mistaken. Crime does not go up as a result of illegal aliens.
Find that in the Constitution.
Well, no, it's got nothing to do. We're just talking about
Yeah.
data here. And besides that, if you start enforcing illegal immigration and you start, asking people for papers and doing that sort of thing, then the rest of that community is not going to cooperate with you at all. If you're a police officer, they're going to just completely close you out. You will not be allowed in their neighborhoods.
Okay. So we are being ruled by fear of something that may not even happen.
A certain segment of our population is being and if you can't draw the comparison to neighborhoods in Michigan and Minnesota, where literally they are populated predominantly by Muslims, and they are literally referred to as no-go zones. And that to me is the result of not going early before it got to be that bad. And the same thing could happen with sanctuary cities, but it doesn't. They don't see it as a problem. There's too many children. There's too many women. There's too many unemployed, good Christian people that want to come in here, and they only want to come here to go to work. They pay their taxes.
Yes, absolutely.
Well,
that's good.
Why can't they do it legally?
Yeah.
What's
the big problem?
It
takes too long and it costs too much.
That's a different problem.
Okay.
That is the response, and it's true. We've had Nico LaHood, our friend, the Bexar County District Attorney, on the show. He's got a brother-in-law that's been waiting 9 years to come here legally. That's preposterous.
It is. It really is.
That is a seriously broken bureaucracy.
Absolutely.
Or they're being told what to do, and they're doing exactly what they want to do. Now I'll go conspiracy theory on you. They're doing exactly what they want to do. That's why they're up in arms over Mr. Trump, who is not one of them, Republican or Democrat. I would submit to you the entire infrastructure of the federal government does not want immigration enforced. They do not want walls. One world government does not want United States sovereignty to continue. We are a problem. So tie that to the fact, I do have a piece of paper here. They found 16 current congressmen, as high as John McCain and the Speaker of the House, Ryan, and McCain's brother-in-law, Lindsey Graham, his little gay friend, who are on George Soros's payroll. They're all on the take. Mr. Trump and the people he's putting in charge are not on the take.
That's right.
It's serious, serious game time. They know it. Trump knows it.
I guess that's why they're coming so unhinged.
Totally. But I'm submitting to you that both sides are coming unhinged.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm talking
Both Republicans, when I say both sides, both
Right.
Republicans and Democrats.
Right.
The Republicans much less so. But if they really felt as firmly and as adamantly about it as the three of us do, and our audience does, it'd be no contest. I mean, this is a slam dunk. We've got the majority in both houses. Sit down, shut up, pay attention. But we don't. They don't. I don't get it. It's not about due process. It's not about
It's not.
playing fair. Because the other side, they're both shaking their heads in agreement, sort of no. What was I going to say? It's like what befuddles me is the firmness, the incontractability. How's that? Mm-hmm. Of the opposition and the people in government. They have 800 people in the State Department that signed a petition, signed a letter saying they were absolutely not going to do what Mr. Trump told them to do.
Yes.
800 people
800,
in the United States State Department. And they still are employed. They're going to get a paycheck tomorrow.
Because?
I don't care.
I know, but it's SEIU. They can't be fired.
Mm.
Yes, they can.
Go ahead and try it.
Do it.
I think Trump is the perfect one.
They said the same thing about
You're fired.
They said the same thing about the air controllers and Ronald Reagan.
Yes, they did.
And what happened?
And he went ahead and did it.
Did
Fired him.
Do it.
I agree 100%.
Test
He
it.
should.
If you want to play that way, play that way. You're done. Mm-hmm. I would have called them all, and I may have said this last week, I would have called them all into a conference room, all 800 of them, brought them all into the conference room, and then escorted them off the property one at a time. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what's in your desk. Whatever's yours, we'll be able to tell, and we'll ship it to you. You're done.
No.
And
I'm
then,
going for president. Yeah.
And
No,
then,
just-
and, you know, sue me. Get out of here.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
agree.
can't imagine. But that's... we're having a hard line drawn against what the people have mandated as the administration and what needs to be done with the country.
And that is un-American.
The people have said, we want to go this way, even if it's for only 4 years. We're in charge, and we're going to go this way for 4 years. And as much complaining as we did about the previous administration, I cannot believe that if you go back to videotapes and radio and et cetera, that the conservative side put up nearly as big a hoopla, faldera, drop dead, fight as what you see going on now. There were no riots at Berkeley when Obama got elected. We didn't burn stuff down and turn,
Nope. Yeah, we wouldn't. Yeah.
We complained. We didn't like it. We thought it was a mistake. Sure enough, we were right. But it's falling on deaf ears. There's just such a hard line in the sand. I'm having a real issue with that.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong.
If I can add to tonight's brief, we talked about tolerance.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
progressives are totally intolerant.
Well,
they are un-American in my.
They're going to find out that I'm afraid that they're going to find out that the conservatives can be intolerant as well.
Yeah,
and,
no,
and,
I'm
and that's,
including.
that's when we. That's when the SHTF.
Yep.
And it get really bad. We have thoroughly enjoyed having you tonight.
Absolutely.
Be sure to come
Guys.
back and see us. Spread the word. Twitter, Facebook, blog, all Doc Owen Show. DOCOWENSHO. Front row. Time to go. You have been listening to the Doc Owen Show. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it. Now go out there this week and take care, pay attention, and God bless.
Bye-bye, folks. God bless.